The air smelled like gingerbread. A warm glow filled the room. Mrs. Claus hummed by the fireplace, stirring a giant pot. Her smile was wide, but her eyes looked tired. We, the elves, scurried around her, carrying trays of cookies and mugs of steaming cocoa. Everything had to be perfect. It was Christmas Eve. I smoothed my green dress and adjusted my cap. My heart wasn't in it. The festive cheer felt hollow, fake. My eyes darted to the corner of the room, to Horace. He sat alone, his head bowed. He hadn't touched his food. Horace was my closest friend. He was older, wiser. He taught me the secrets the others wouldn't dare whisper. Secrets about the true nature of the North Pole, about Santa Claus. A few weeks ago he was caught sharing these secrets with a new elf. His punishment was swift and brutal. I hadn't spoken to him since. Not directly, but I snuck him extra food whenever I could. He deserved kindness, we all did. But kindness was a luxury we couldn't afford in Santa's workshop. Horace had been flogged 50 lashes. His back was a mess of raw flesh and dried blood. I saw him struggle to sit, his face contorted in pain. The sight of it made my stomach churn, made me want to scream, but I couldn't. Showing defiance meant risking the same fate. He used to tell me stories about the outside world, about sunshine and green grass, about freedom. His words sparked a fire in me, a yearning for something more than this life of servitude, a life where laughter wasn't forced and smiles weren't painted on. Santa called it spreading Christmas cheer, but it felt more like spreading fear. Fear kept us in line, fear kept us quiet, fear kept us working. I snuck another glance at Horace. His eyes were closed. Was he asleep or just trying to escape? I envied him if he could find peace even for a moment. My own mind raced. Something felt different tonight. A shift in the air, an unsettling stillness. We lived by Santa's rules, ironclad and unyielding. Work started before sunrise and ended long after the moon had risen. We ate when we were told, slept when we were allowed. Every moment was accounted for, every action scrutinized. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't question your tasks. Don't ever try to leave. The last rule was the most haunting. Whispered amongst us in hushed tones, a chilling reminder of the consequences of disobedience. No one knew what happened to those who dared to defy Santa, but the fear in the whispers was enough to silence any thoughts of escape. The hours ticked by. The usual Christmas Eve excitement was absent, replaced by a heavy anticipation. Something was wrong. I could feel it in my bones. Even Mrs. Claus seemed on edge, her cheerful facade slipping with every passing moment. Midnight came and went, still no sign of Santa. The silence was deafening. No booming laughter, no jingling bells, just the ticking of the clock and the frantic beating of my heart. Whispers started to ripple through the room. Anxious glances were exchanged. The fear that had been simmering beneath the surface was now threatening to boil over. Where was he? What was happening? Even the toys seemed to hold their breath, their painted smiles frozen in place. The teddy bears stared blankly ahead. The toy soldiers stood stiffly at attention. The rocking horses stood immobile, their once cheerful eyes now vacant and cold. Mrs. Claus paced by the fireplace, her face pale and drawn. She muttered to herself, her words lost in the oppressive silence. Her usual composure had crumbled, revealing a raw terror beneath. Something was terribly wrong. We all felt it.